It's November 4th, 2024, and I'm with Mr. John J. Jeckovich in Studio 6B, and we're talking about his book they wrote in excess of 25 years ago, and the book is titled Their Mother's Sons. And this is basically about Mr. Jeckovich taking care of his mother from him being 11 years old to the end of his mother's life at 3063 Orleans Avenue. The only short time that Mr. Jeckovich wasn't with his mother was when he got drafted into World War II as an infantryman on the front line, and that was for approximately 3 or 4 years. But an interesting note is he sent home over 3/4 of his monthly pay. Was that correct?
Yeah, allotment, yeah.
Allotment, okay. Yeah, and so, and then Mr. Jeckovich had a 30-day furlough, and he went home to visit and take care of his mother again. So Mr. Jeckovich was a World War II combat veteran in Company H, the 2nd Battalion of the 21st Regiment of the 75th Infantry Division of the U.S. Army during World War II. Mr. Jeckovich then and now lives by this motto that yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, and today is a gift. Before I start reading, Mr. Jeckovich, what's your dog tag number?
42065.
Okay, this will be the code to open up the computer. Mr. Jeckovich is sharp as a tack, knocking on the door of 100. Knocking on the door of 100. He can read the newspapers without glasses. He can squeeze your hand and practically knock you to the ground. Mr. Jeckovich jogged for 70 or 80 years, and the only thing they gave out most recently was his knees. Once your knees give out, well, and then you're restricted to a wheelchair. But Mr. Jeckovich takes a licking and he keeps on ticking. Mr. Jeckovich has been shot up, beat up. Oh, he's been everything you can imagine during World War II. Shot up by a sniper in his shoulder, shrapnel still in his leg. He can't even go to the airport unless the alarms go off with so much damn metal in his body. See, back then they shot out dirty bombs. The bomb would blow over these young soldiers' heads, and in those bombs it was loaded with, say, a wrench or razors, or what else do they put in those bombs? What else they put in those bombs?
Hammers,
razors,
knives,
anything.
Anything to make it destructive.
Yeah, and as a result, Mr. Jeckovich got hit by that pretty hard. But unfortunately, his right-hand man gunner of the heavy machine gun, when that bomb hit, blew Donald Lape's head completely off. And the only thing left was Donald Lape's glasses that were hanging from his ear. Mr. Jeckovich took those off and sent to Donald Lape's mother and father a great note of condolences with his dog tag. A very interesting fact and story how life takes its twists and turns. Donald Lape's younger brother, who was too young for the World War II, when he retired many years later, he ended up living 2 blocks away from Mr. Jeckovich's house in Florida. We didn't know that until the obituary listed Donald Lape in it as perishing in World War II because his brother recently died. But that would have been a beautiful thing for Donald Lape's younger brother, Mr. Jeckovich, to be able to converse about the family, but it never took place. In fact, Donald Lape's younger brother lived next to Mr. Jeckovich in Florida for over 25 years, and no one knew it. No one knew it until it was too late. And speaking about being it's too late, if you have any questions for Mr. Jeckovich, text him now at area code 407-366-0000. Text Mr. Jeckovich right now at area code 407-366-0000. 0000. Or as we say on the peaceful and beautiful island called home, Defusky Island, we say it a little different because we are different. We say text Mr. Jeckovich at 407-366 double lot. 407-366 double lot. And before it's too late, they are losing the World War II vets at a rate of 150 men per day. So do the math. Most of them are in their late 90s or early hundreds. We started out with 14,500,000 young men and women fighting in World War II. And right now we have less than 100,000 left. And most of those were rear echelon. What's rear echelon, Mr. Jeckovich?
People behind the lines to do common work, office work, transportation, all that stuff.
So they weren't fighters, but their work was still very important.
Yeah.
Supply you with the ammo, food, take you off the field in case you got hit. And Mr. Jeckovich was up front lines of the combat, and primarily many wars, but his last war, fortunately, was the Battle of Bulge, which many young men were killed or permanently injured. And out of these guys we have left total of less than 7,000. Less than 7,000 of the frontline infantrymen, which is an interesting thing to note that many died during the war, many died of old age, or many 20 or 30 years after the war, they died of lung cancer because these kids are only 17 and 18, 19 on the front line, and the Red Cross was passing out non-filter cigarettes. Like, what were some of the brands they passed out?
Pall Mall, Chesterfield, Lucky Strike.
They passed them out to all the young infantrymen like it was candy. So as a result, many of them got addicted to cigarettes, and consequently, 20 or 30 years later, they died of lung cancer. Cigarettes were very, very big and notable during World War II. And what did the camps look like when the war was finally ending?
What, the camps?
Tents on the camps. What were they named after?
Chesterfield, Lucky Strike, Pall Mall.
Yeah. And these were all hardcore, non-filtered cigarettes. And that's one way the cigarette companies, after the war was over, sold a lot of cigarettes to the addicted young infantrymen.
Well, they put them on the counters of the drugstore. The young kids would steal them. That's just what they want. They steal them, they start smoking, then they get addicted, then they got to buy it.
Right. Mr. Jeckovich is saying after the war, the cigarette companies got the kids addicted by just passing them out free like candy. But once the war was over, what the tobacco companies would do, they'd set up a display on the front counter of, let's just say, a 7-Eleven or some type of convenience store, right on the front counter. And the motivation there was to have these kids, 12, 13, 14, 15, make it super, super, super easy to steal a pack. And the tobacco company's attitude was this: steal a pack today, sell a carton tomorrow.
Yeah.
So here we are. We're still in the same game, just advertising a little bit differently.
Yeah.
So there we are. If you have any questions for Mr. Jeckovich, just text him at that 407-366-0000, and Mr. Jeckovich will respond to all. And thank you very much for all the beautiful happy birthday text messages we received from Mr. Jeckovich and all the fun and neat gifts he sent them. The last one we showed, we received from a lieutenant colonel in Caribou, Maine. He was a really nice guy, retired. And he sent in, what was he sent in, a moose? A moose head? Lieutenant Colonel, what did he send you from Caribou, Maine? Was it a moose head?
Yeah.
Moose head, that was nice. We put that up in Mr. Jekovich's office, So, we're on chapter 20. Chapter 20, engaged in wedding plans. And I guess I'll start reading, and we'll see where we go from here. Okay. Did you want to read a little, Mr. Jeckovich, or you want me to?
Go ahead, you read it.
Okay, chapter 20, page 595. It was finally time for Delphine to meet Mother. As I waited for her to arrive, and thought struck me that it was possible she would not be here. It became a real concern for several minutes, but it was always where I saw her leaving the store. My first reaction was, as I saw her, that I did not want to lose her. She was important to my life, and despite what might transpire, it would be tragically end to our relationship. She greeted me warmly, even if a little apprehensive, for she did not know what to expect. I took her hand and held it tightly as we walked to the car. "You look great," I exclaimed, admiring her attire and feeling the distractions of the last several days being relegated to an insignificant obscurity. She looked at me questioning, trying to find an answer in my face as to what was threatening our nearness. Her behavior reminded me of when we first met. The hesitancy and the aloofness, but most of all her reluctance to confront the situation and ask straight out what was troubling me. I did not want to put her through this ordeal, as I knew how painful it must be for her, but I had no choice. "I'm starved, how about you?" I remarked as we drove off. "Would you care to know the Red Devil or someplace else?" "What's the Red Devil?"
That was an eating place.
"What city was it in?"
Buffalo.
"Was it nice?"
Oh, it was a nice checkerboard thing on the tables and that, yeah.
"Did they get to know you in there?"
Well, we were there several times, yeah.
"So they knew where to place you for sitting?"
Yeah.
"The Red Devil will be fine," she responded, sitting a little distance from me, her voice trailing off as she grasped for words. I knew I had to say something to ease her mind and erase the doubt and suspense she might be experiencing. Let's see, where the hell did I leave off? I had to say something. Oh, okay. I knew I had to say something to ease your mind and erase the doubt and suspense she might be experiencing. "I'm having trouble at home," I blurted out. "My mother is having fits that I'm out as much as I am. She feels threatened and doesn't want to be alone. She's fearful I'll be leaving." But that never happened.
Yeah.
Your mother got along great with Delphine.
Yeah.
After I had said it, I felt rather foolish and idiotic. It was a stupid thing, a grown person bemoaning the actions of his mother, wailing like a grade school boy on his first day of school. I would not have blamed Delphine one iota if she became disgusted with my trepidation and asked to be driven home immediately. "You mean you don't want to end our relationship and you don't have another person you care for more than me?" she stammered, the relief coming out in her voice as it grew stronger and the doubt and uncertainty left her. For a moment we were both in silence, and then we burst out into laughter, jubilant at our newfound understanding of each other and elated at our good fortune to have one another. Delphine moved close to me, took my hand, and kissed it gently. Don't even fright me like that again. I thought for sure I had lost you. Your mother we can manage together, and I want to meet her real soon. Minutes? I surprised her at the response, but I knew we had passed another hurdle, a large one.
14.
Let's see. And your mother we can manage together, and I want to meet her real soon. I was surprised at her response, but I knew we had passed another hurdle, a large one, and that we had become intertwined together. After dinner, we raced to the Erlanger. What's the Erlanger?
The theater in Buffalo, yeah.
After dinner, we raced to the Erlanger, but I knew we had passed another. Okay. After dinner, we raced to the Erlanger to make the opening curtain, just made on time. Sitting through the play all together, a fitting drama. I thought more about drama that had unfolded between us and its ramifications that it brought about. Delphine was touched by the play, and I could see her dab her eyes occasionally, look at me and smile. The play lasted about 2 hours with a short intermission between the acts. I was glad I had taken Delphine there rather than a movie, and I was even more relieved that we had discussions, as I believe she might have been. Let's get some coffee and dessert, I suggested, and we walked to the car. Delphine agreed, and I could see that she was more relaxed, but still slightly overcome the stage play we just seen. She thought it'd be far superior to most movies. We stopped at your host. What's your host?
Your host of the restaurant.
Uh-huh. On Delaware Avenue. Where's Delaware Avenue?
In the main sector of Buffalo.
Okay. I wonder if it's still there.
Huh?
I wonder if it's still there.
Probably, yeah.
And as we waited for our order, Delphine brought up the subject of my mother and her behavior. I don't see such a terrific, awful problem here. You're making a big thing out of a natural event. She went on crossing her legs and shifting her napkin on her lap. You don't know my mother, I chimed in. What didn't she know about your mother?
She didn't.
She didn't know nothing about your mother. Let me just jump over to a reference about Mr. John Jeckovich's mother. This is a note Mr. Jeckovich wrote on the rear part of his book. Mother did not relish the role of motherhood, yet she excelled in its functions and responsibilities. She was always quick to point out its hardships and tribulations, but did not ask for help nor seek out sympathy. She was a stern taskmaker, also seeking the best for her children, narrowed by her limited experience and knowledge. Her one outstanding trait was her integrity and unabated loyalty to those she cared for and loved. Mother's unflinching religion was also stood in her good stead, and it was her salvation and great source of courage and determination. Although her deep religious convictions were a staunch support for her, the one struggle she constantly fought against was a severe sense of loneliness, which was always with her. Even though she would never admit to its hold on her, it was quite apparent to anyone who loved her. So that's a little bit background about Mr. John J. Jeckovich's mother. And so let's see. My mother can be a real pain in the neck when she wants to be. I continued waiting for her reaction. All mothers are the same, she quickly retorted. Some are more spirited than others when they feel threatened. With that, she folded her arms on the table after taking her napkin from her lap and placing it on the table beside her empty coffee cup. Was Delphine a regular coffee drinker?
No.
Were you a regular
No.
coffee drinker?
No.
Was your mother a regular coffee drinker?
In the morning she'd have a cup of coffee, yeah.
Was your father a coffee drinker?
No.
No. The question is, what are you going to do about it besides making a fuss about it? And throwing up your hands in the air in disgust, she exclaimed, it's Delphine talking, moving about in her rear seat and recrossing in her seat and recrossing her legs several times. I was somewhat awestruck by her discourse, and she knew that she had disturbed me, which was probably her intent. Minutes, please? I'm not going to let it influence me that much, and I'll do what I think is right for me, I sheepishly replied.
8.
It was just that it wears you down after a while, and you get disgusted with the whole mess that you want to get rid of the entire situation and not hear any more of it. She listened intently, nodding in agreement as to what I was saying, but said no more. She excused herself to go to the powder room, leaving me to assimilate what she had said. I concurred with her thoughts and was delighted that she spoke so candidly and forcefully. She displayed mature judgment in her assessment of my situation, and I felt much better before telling her about it. Her attitude regarding it gave me some surprise. I did not expect her artful and astute response, but I welcomed it and was thankful for it. I was grateful and beholden to her for accepting me with all the Tempest background. It was late as we drove to her house, each with our own thoughts, our flickering friendship engulfing both of us, and bursting forth in a glowing flame, even brighter and stronger. I thought you were going to leave me for good tonight, and I was pretty much upset about it. I didn't want to lose you, she murmured, resting her hand on my shoulder and taking hold of my hand. I would never do that, I sighed. I felt that I had to be truthful with you and give you an inkling of my situation at home. Don't you think I had a fairly good idea of that already? Replied, it's pretty obvious.
6.
It's pretty obvious someone is having problems when he never speaks about something, and you invariably did. How many times have you mentioned your family since we've known each other? How often did you talk about your mother or even your sister? You know, I start afternoons tomorrow, I said, wishing to change the subject. When will I see you again? Whenever you want, she quickly replied. We parked in front of her house, realizing the lateness of the hour. I took her in my arms and began kissing her. You're such a dope, she uttered, getting me in such a dither about nothing. With that, she darted out of the car and was at the side door waving to me before she entered the house. I didn't move the car for several minutes and just stared at the side door where she entered, knowing for certain that Renee had a definite hand in all that transpired between Delphine and me. I saw Delphine as much as possible the rest of the summer of 1951. Wow, that's a long time ago. 1951.
51, yeah.
Wow, holy hell.
What did you do there?
You said I saw Delphine as much as possible during the rest of the summer of 1951.
Oh, boy.
Holy hell. How many years were you married for, Mr. Jeckovich?
How many years? 69.
69, yeah. Whenever I was not working, we would see one another. Usually there's two of us. No double dating. So you didn't double date anymore.
No.
That didn't work out too good, the double dating.
Rosie and Agnes, yeah. Rosie and the kid, no, Edward, yeah. So we talk about cars.
We went several times to Wildwood. What's Wildwood?
Huh?
We went several times to Wildwood. What's Wildwood?
Wildwood is a beach in Canada.
Okay. We went several times to Wildwood, a beach area on Lake Ontario on the Canadian
But
side.
I'll tell you something else. I had my wallet with me. I'm talking about way back in 51, 50. I had my wallet in my pocket, and when we took my pants off to go to the beach, I laid my pants out on the sand. Then when I got in the car, I didn't find my wallet. I said, where the hell's my wallet? So I looked around, I couldn't find the wallet. So next year we came back to the same spot. The wallet was underneath the sand.
No kidding.
Yeah.
What did you have in that wallet?
Well, I had $150 in my license and my physical, Army discharge, and everything else.
So let me try to understand this. During the summer of, say, 51, your wallet was lost at Wildwood Beach.
Yeah, because I took my pants off. When I put my pants off,
It fell
the wallet fell out.
Okay, now a whole winter went by. Tons of snow fell on that beach.
Yeah.
Tons of rain fell on that beach. And a year later, you're laying down, you put your hand in the sand, and
There's my wallet.
wow,
What are the odds?
that's an amazing story.
And papers were good. Papers were good inside too.
How deep was it in the sand?
I'd say about a foot.
But I'm surprised no one else.
I'm surprised somebody didn't sit there and feel around, found that wallet.
Yeah,
Remember how many people sat in that beach?
yeah, a lot. And it went through the whole winter,
Wow.
snow.
And he sat in the
Right.
same spot and he reached down
Wow.
and there it was.
Went through the winter, snow. It went through the winter, the snow. It went through.
Oh yeah, it went through the winter. Yeah.
And so, what did the wall general condition?
The wallet was, luckily it was zipped. Moisture couldn't get it too well. The outside wall was crumbly. It wasn't rotted out, but it was soiled. It was soiled a lot. And I opened the wall, unzipped it, I walked inside. The papers and my, well, there was $150 in there too.
How about your driver's license?
My driver's license and everything. You could read all of it, but it was getting a little crumbly now.
And so, you used that wallet again, right?
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So at that time, did you have 2 driver's licenses?
Yeah.
Wow. That was a nice find.
Yeah.
Did you ever hear
Yeah,
that
it's-
story before?
No.
120.
That's a nice find.
What?
That's a
neat.
nice story.
Yeah.
That's a nice, you must have been shocked.
Oh boy. I thought I gave that wall up for good.
You must have been shocked.
Delphine was upset.
Well, it ended nicely.
Then you had an extra $150.
Yeah, an extra
No,
$150.
she didn't know what I had the wallet, no.
No, but you got your money back too. That was nice.
Your money was good, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Was the money
yeah,
still
yeah.
good?
Minutes?
Well, luckily my license was there and my discharge.
Oh, all your government papers were there.
Yeah.
Oh,
My VA papers were there.
that is amazing story. I didn't know that.
That's amazing.
I did not know that. That's an amazing story. Put it in
Yeah,
here.
that is good. I guess
That is an amazing story. Here's a rubber band.
pick up everything.
Seconds.
13.
Now you're gonna listen to this Trump or no?
Yeah, we got 13 seconds before
Yeah.
the second set.
8 seconds.
8 seconds.
Yep, come on.
Yeah.
We'll pick it up tomorrow.